Hey guys, this is Ariel here over in Hometalk HQ here in New York City. Today we're going to join Lisa to do a really cool upcycle project where you use your old books. So we're going to take it over to Lisa. Hey Lisa, how are you?
Hey, I'm good. How are you?
Awesome.
I am coming to you today, guys, from Ottawa in Canada. So I'm up in Ottawa, and it's Lisa from Recreated Designs, and I'm going to show you today how to make these gorgeous book page flowers that some of you have seen in my other Home Talk lives. So I'm going to walk you through the directions today and show you how you can make one for your wall. So we are going to get right to our project, and we're going to start. To make these flowers, what we need a back to build the flower on. So what you're going to do is you can cut up a cardboard box, and so just grab a recycled box. And we just need a piece of cardboard to make the backing for our flower. So we're going to start doing that. And be sure to let us know where you're tuning in from. We'd love to hear where you're coming from. And I'm going to take a bowl to start this, and I'm just going to trace. You can take any size bowl that you'd like. This is just the easiest way to get a nice circle. Just take a bowl, any bowl, and trace it. And then we are going to cut this out. And again, if you're just tuning in, we're going to make a book page flower, a really big flower. And this is going to be the back to our flower. So I'm going to make one a little bit smaller than what I have on the wall today, just for time purposes. But you can make this any size that you want. So we're going to start this, and this is going to be the back to our flower.
And this really is going to be an awesome project for all the book lovers out there. I know, because I am an avid reader, that I have so many books that just literally are taking life on my shelf. I don't read them anymore. So this is going to be a really cool project where you can bring life back into those books, and it's going to look really pretty in your own.
Exactly, Ariel. There are so many books at thrift stores and recycle places now that they literally can't even give them away. So it's a great way to keep books out of the recycle bin and to do something, maybe if you have a special book that means a lot to you, this is a great way to reuse it so that you can still have it, but not take up room on your bookshelf. And if you're one of the people that really doesn't like cutting up books, you can do this project. You can use like a beautiful craft paper like this that I found. It's just a brown craft paper, but you could make your flower out of this. You could make your flower out of like an old vintage catalog if you have that. So anything that's really printed on paper, old sheet music, you could make it out of that. We're going to use an old book today. So we have our back to our flower here, and I'm just going to give it a little coat of paint first. You won't really see too much of the back, but you will see the edges depending on where you hang it. So I'm just going to use some Fusion Mineral Paint. It's just called Raw Silk. And I'm just going to paint this piece of cardboard quickly here before we get on to making our flower.
Nice, nice. And now, how's the weather out there, guys? Like here in New York City, we're finally warming up. We're finally getting some really nice weather, and I'm actually really excited about it. So where is the weather? Like, what is it like out there for you guys right now? Is it nice? Is it warm? A little chilly? Tell me about it.
I would love to know that too, because up in Canada, where we are in Ottawa, which is the capital of Canada, we've been getting a ton of rain, and we actually have a lot of flooding this spring. So today is the first day we've actually seen the sun in about a week, so we are very happy.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
It snowed yesterday.
Yes, and I should say it snowed yesterday here on top of all the rain, so we're done with rain and snow here, for sure.
That's a good thing. Very good thing.
Yeah. All right, so you have your circle here. We gave it a little bit of paint just on one side so that if you do happen to see the cardboard, the edges or through, then that'll kind of blend in with your wall a little bit, and it won't just look like a piece of cardboard. So we're going to take a book. You can take any old book you want. I chose this one. I picked it up at a thrift store literally for a couple of dollars. And I just like this one because it had these really cool old pages to it. They actually have a little tiny bit of a gold tint to them. And the pages are this really pretty, kind of like this old yellow color. So I love this color. And so, but you could use, you can find books that are old that still have white pages or anything like that, whatever you like. So
really pretty. It's very vintage. And guys, today the giveaway question is, what have you DIY'd in the last week? Tell us all about it. And comment, the best comment is going to get a nifty, cool tote bag from us over here at the Home Talk HQ.
Ooh, nice. All right, so once you have your book, you can start anywhere in your book, and we just want to slice some of the pages out. Some of them will tear out, but because I want a pretty nice clean cut, I'm going to take just an X-Acto knife, and I'm going to slice it down the spine. And all you have to do is just a slice down, and then depending on how deep you went, you can start pulling out your pages. So you can see I've got probably 5 or 6 pages with that cut. So you're just going to keep going down here, cut out. Now, if you're making a big flower, you're probably going to need between 50 and 70 pages. So it'll take a little bit of a chunk of a book. You know, you're going to need to cut out like this much of a book kind of thing to make a flower. So we've got our pages cut out here. Now, to make the cones for the flower, we actually want to trim a little bit off these pages. They're a little bit too long. So you can see this particular page, if you're wondering about dimensions, this one is about 5.5, and in total it's by 8. But we want it to be almost square, not quite, but almost. So you can see here, if I turn it into a square, I'm going to cut about that much off the bottom. So I'm just going to put my ruler there. And these don't have to be perfect by any means because you want it to look really old and vintagey. So don't worry about cutting these perfectly or having perfect cuts. I just trimmed the bottom off my pages.
And Carolyn said that she DIY'd a grilled cheese sandwich this week.
I love it.
That's a very hard DIY to pull off, but you have to have the right amount of butter and bread.
That's great. Hey, now we're all going to be hungry for supper. All right, so after you have your pages cut like this, what you want to do, you want to make cones out of them. So you're just going to fold the one side in while you fold the other side over top. So you can see it almost looks like a cannoli wrapper, the outside of that. Yeah. But you want to pull it just a little bit so that the bottom is a little bit smaller than the hole at the top, if you can see that. Again, you don't have to worry about having these perfect. They don't have to be all the same by any means. You just want to have fun and just kind of roll them up so they're in a bit of a cone and just one side a little bit smaller. Now we need our cones to stay together, so I'm just going to take my hot glue and put just a little dab on the inside of one of the corners. So one corner is tucked in and one corner is going to be there. And we're just going to bend that over. You can stick your finger in, make sure your glue sticks down, and that is plenty to hold it. So you can see my cone there. So that's about like that. Don't forget to make sure to share the video. We'd love you to send us hearts and let us know where you're tuning in from. While we're going to make a few of these cones here. Don't worry, we're not going to make all of them. So,
and
you can see.
And Redonia over here says that she actually used old book pages to cover her entire wall, and it goes with her shabby chic theme for her home.
Oh my gosh, I bet that was beautiful. What a great idea. How cool would that be? Or to cover like a bathroom wall or something like that, or a library wall. That would be so cool. So you can see again, so we're just making a few of our cones here. And if you're just tuning in, we're making a book page flower. So we're making one of these big flowers for the wall out of old book pages, but you could use sheet music, you could use old newspapers, anything like that that has printing on it. Even something like this, like an old wrapping paper, a craft paper, would be perfect.
I would actually, because I have so many, I have the entire collection of Harry Potter books, and I would love to just make a giant flower out of all the pages of my Harry Potter book. Like, that's just like every Potterhead's dream, is to have beautiful Harry Potter stuff all over the place, and this would be perfect.
So cool. And that's the really cool thing, is you could take a book that has sentimental value to you, and this is a great way to keep it, but not have it just sit as a book on your bookshelf. So, you know, if you have a book that has some special meaning, and this doesn't have to be made out of an old book by any means. You could use a new book too. I just chose an old book because I really like how the pages have this texture on them, and I like the color of these pages. So, but you could definitely use a new book too. So when you're making your flower, you're actually going to have to make well, depending on how big you want it, you're going to need probably between 50 and 70 of these cones. So just plug away at them and make those. And if you're just joining us, we already painted a piece of cardboard that's going to go on the back of our flower, and we're starting to make cones. So you can see the pages. We got some pages out of a book, and we trimmed off the bottom section just because we want them pretty close to being square. So I actually went ahead and made a whole bunch of cones here, so you didn't have to watch me make all the cones. And I'm going to show you how to actually assemble your flower. Before we do that, though, now that my cardboard is pretty dry, I want to take a little piece. I'm going to take a piece of this jute twine, and I'm just going to cut off a couple of inches here. And it's better to do this before you start building your flower because it'll be a lot harder after. And just on the back of your cardboard, you're going to glue this little piece of jute twine so that you'll have something to hang your flower by after. So we're just going to put a little bit of hot glue on the jute twine there and hold it down. And again, don't forget to tell us where you're tuning in from. We'd love to know, and we'd love to know, like Ariel said, what the weather's like where you guys are and what you've DIY'd in the past week. When I was with you guys last week, we were making a flower sign out of moss, and so we'd love to know what you guys were DIYing this week. So you can see there, I've just got a piece of jute twine, and it's just going to be so I can hang my flower up after. Okay. So we are ready to assemble our flower here, and really all you need for this project is a piece of cardboard and some paper, whether you want to use your old books or whatever you'd like to use for that, and that's it. So it's a really cheap project, and it's great to do with old things that you have laying around. Like Ariel said, like the Harry Potter books, that's a great idea if you want to do something like that, or for a kid's room. Maybe a kid's book, like with beautiful colored pictures, that would be fun too.
Ooh, like Dr. Seuss. Dr. Seuss would be really cool.
Oh, that would be cool. Okay, so we're gonna start assembling our flower here. And the first thing you wanna do, we wanna build the outside. We always wanna work in with these big flowers. So we're gonna take some of our cones and we're gonna put just a little bit of hot glue on the small end of the cone. Remember, we made one end a little bit smaller than the other end just because this will fill in your flower more. And so we've got some glue on the small end, and we're just going to stick it to the cardboard. So when I'm making these flowers, I like to work across just to fill it in so that I make sure that I've got them all spaced the way I like them.
Now guys, like, where are our hearts? Where are our likes? Like and heart this video because this is an awesome project. You get to upcycle and you get to bring new life into something that's always been in our house but we don't really use a lot. So this is a really cool project. Like and heart if you're going to be doing this or if you're really inspired by this, because I'm getting super inspired by watching this.
This is also great too because I like reusing as much as I can, and I hate throwing things out. So, and they're just in the digital age that we're in now. There's just so many books are on like e-readers and things like that. So they're just bookstores, thrift stores, like recycle centers. They're just overflowing with these old books. So it's just a great way to save some from ending up in the recycle bin or the dump. So you can see I've got my 4 on there first, and I do it that way just so I can space them out and see how I want to fill it in. And then I'm going to start filling in between them. So it doesn't matter that there's space up here because as we add the layers, you'll see that it's going to fill in. So I'm going to put 3 in between, and we'll do that.
And Darlene said that she would make hers out of comic books, so that's really awesome.
I didn't even think of that. That's an awesome idea, especially if you have somebody in your family that loves comics, or like a teenage boy or a man for that matter that loves comics. That's a great idea, and it would be so colorful too. Okay. And where do we have everybody tuning in from today? We'd love to know where you're coming. We're up in, I said at the beginning, we're up in Ottawa, Canada today. So we are not too far from headquarters in New York City. We're about 6 hours or so 6 or 7 hours.
And also, just to remind you guys, DIY question for today is going to be, what did you DIY in the last week? Tell us all about it, and best answer gets a cute little tote bag from us.
Oh, and they are cute. If you haven't seen them, definitely it's a cute prize. It's really cool. So you will, and who can't use a tote bag? So,
yes.
So we'd love to know what you've been DIYing this week. Okay, so you can see we've got our first layer on here. So I put them all about an inch into our cardboard, and I'll flip it over here just so you can see it. So they're glued in about an inch, and I've gone around the circle and glued them all in. So now what we're gonna do, we're gonna start layering it in. And again, you don't have to worry about this being perfect. It kind of is cool when it's all random. And as they fill in, your flower is going to start to look like a chrysanthemum. So it's going to start doming in, and the paper will just naturally start turning in. So you don't have to worry about filling in every space, but now I'm going to start, and you can already see how this one's popping up. As I start to glue the next layer on, they'll start popping up and filling in all those spaces.
And B says that for her flower, she would spray paint the tips or dust it with some glitter to coordinate with the theme of her room.
Oh, that would be beautiful. Someone had said, if you miss any of the directions for this project too, it's all on Hometalk's website, so you can get the step-by-step directions with pictures. And someone had commented on that project, on the blog post of this project, that they would leave the center empty, and then with each season they change up what they put in the center of it so that it kind of works for all seasons.
Oh, that's really cool. I like that idea.
That was a really cool idea.
I'd have a giant pumpkin in the center of mine.
There you go. And that's it. You could change it up no matter what the holiday. So I thought that was really cool to leave it empty like that and then change it up. So you can see as we're filling it in, it's starting to, the petals are starting to turn up. And now there's really what you're going to do is just keep going around and keep filling in all those spaces down below. And you can crinkle your paper, you can do whatever you need to do to fill it in down there. And we're just putting a dab of glue again on, we made our cones here in case you're just tuning in, and the bottom is a little bit narrower than the top. So we're putting the glue on the narrow side and gluing it in here.
Now, Joyce wants to know, what's the diameter of the circle that you're using for the base of the flower? Does it have a set diameter, or can you switch it up?
You can absolutely switch it up. This one, if you want to just have an idea, this diameter right here it's almost 7.5 inches. So, and to give you an idea, the one on the wall behind me here is a bit bigger. So this one's going to turn out to be a little bit smaller. So this diameter on the back of this one's probably about 8 inches or so.
Nice.
Okay, so we are just filling it in. And let us know what you DIY'd this week. I still love the grilled cheese sandwich answer. That's cute.
That's a necessary DIY.
Yeah, exactly. You can't go wrong with DIYing grilled cheese. Okay, so I'll hold it up just so you can see here as it's starting to fill in. So the paper's starting to fill in all the holes, and it's starting to get that dome shape to it. So it's really easy, and like we said before, it is the most inexpensive craft that you can do, because all you need is an old book and a piece of cardboard and some glue. And I'm just using hot glue here, so it dries quickly and it sticks well. So I'm just going around in circles, filling it in, and as it's filling in, if you want to add some more to it, you can just kind of push it down and fill in your pieces here. And you can keep going around here. So let us know what you've DIY'd, because in a little bit, when this is done, we're going to, Arrow's going to tell us who the winner is, and we're going to give away a Hometalk tote. It's really cool if you haven't seen it. So,
also, what have you guys made from like a book? Have you guys ever crafted something unique from any of those old books that just literally sit around in your shelves or on your nightstand? Have you guys made anything from books before?
That's a great question, because there's so many cool book page projects like that you can do now with old books. I know at Christmas, one of the things I love to make are Christmas trees out of old books. So, okay, so we're getting pretty close to the center here. So I'm just going to glue a few last pieces in here. And just crinkle your pages if you're kind of running out of room to glue it in the center here. I'll show you. Just push your pages down a little bit, and that's okay. You can fill it in there.
It's really pretty.
This is a perfect craft for anybody at all craft levels, because if you can make a cone and use a glue gun, you're good to go. And it's such a pretty flower when it's done. So be sure to get in your last minute what you DIY'd this week before Hometalk gives away their tote to one lucky listener. And be sure to share. We'd love for you to share this video. Okay. So we are almost to the end here of this.
And don't forget to share this, guys. Share this with your fellow book lovers, because I know so many people that would love to do this just because they have so many books in their house. And share it if you like it. Give us some likes. Give us some love. Lisa needs some love. I need some love.
There we go. Thanks. All right. So you can see we have come to the center, but I do want to fill in this center because it's a little, I don't want to leave it plain like that. So what we're going to do to fill in the center, we're going to go back to our book pages. And I'm going to use the same page. So they're the same pages that we cut the bottom off of at the beginning. And what you're going to do, you're going to grab the middle, so kind of pinch the middle of the page and just kind of bend it up. So it's almost like you don't want to fold it, just kind of bend it and pinch it a little bit. And you can put a couple of these in if you want. And then I'm just going to put a little bit of glue on the bottom here, and I'm going to stick these right into the center of my flower, so it kind of fills in the center, and once the glue dries it'll stick down there. And you can just crinkle these however you want. You can play with it. If you want a little bit fuller center, you can just add a few of these little kind of crinkled pages in the center, and it'll fill it in and make the flower kind of have that nice center. So I'm just going to add one or two more here to fill it in. I like it kind of full in the center, so I'm just going to add, and you might have to push these down until the glue dries, but once it dries, it'll be nice and filled in. So see how easy this was? It was pretty quick. The hardest part really is just the time consuming making the cones, but other than that, you can see here, it's a really beautiful craft that doesn't take a lot of money or a lot of skill or time. So you can see we've got 3 little pages in the middle here now, and they've kind of created that flower center in there. So
that's really pretty. Oh my goodness. And the options are just limitless here. You can make it at anything. Magazines, you can make it out comic books, anything paper.
I love that. And that's it. You can use, someone suggested on the post on Hometalk too, you could use old hymnals from church, because those are everywhere now. You can see the old hymnals. So you could take the sheet music out of old hymnals and do book page flowers like that with the old music from them. That would be so pretty too. So I love that suggestion. So you can see here, if you have any last minute questions, you can let us know. But like I said, the directions to this are on the Hometalk website. So if you missed anything, you can watch the video, or you can check out the post on Hometalk, and all the directions are on their site. So you can find that. And so that's it. So we have our hanger on the back, so we can just hang this up. Now, on mine, you can see I put it over 2 pieces of reclaimed wood, and that just kind of made it pop off the wall. So you can do that, or you can just hang this. We had some people say that you could paint the tips. That would be beautiful too, or put something in the center if you wanted. You guys have awesome ideas, so that's why we love to hear your ideas. So
Yes, and thank you so much, Lisa, for this awesome craft. This was just a great one. This is a great way for us to recycle those things that are just taking up room on our shelves, and we can just make it into this gorgeous decor. Thank you so much, Lisa.
Oh, absolutely. I can't wait to hear who won.
All right, thanks, guys, and thank you for joining in with us, and thank you again, Lisa. Bye!